Baby, baby, baby. How's everybody doing? Are you guys ready to get corrupted with guitar? Tell me, are you ready to get corrupted with guitar? 'Cause this song might sound really heavenly and nice. It might sound like, oh, everything is great. Everything is fantastic. But are you ready to get corrupted with guitar? Especially electric guitars. Not like those classical guitars with like black suit and bow tie and horrible things that only sissies play. Let's get you corrupted. Corrupted. Yeah, that was one heck of an intro. You're welcome. That was an athletic intro. I'm not gonna lie. That was a really good intro. If you don't like it, I don't know what else I should do for you. Like, if you didn't like that intro, and by the way, I'm sick. I've got a bit of a flu. I don't have a great voice right now, and I still did that intro. And I don't know if you... How's things, everybody? Hope you're well. Happy Saturday or Friday, depending on where you live. And I hope your week was better than mine, because I got sick. I had to do some nerve conductance study on my left arm because of playing guitar too much. And my arm is destroyed for the past 2 weeks. So is life, I guess. But we've got you a great docket today. We're going to talk about beautiful things. So we're going to chat and hang out and do all the good stuff, obviously. But what we're also going to do is to talk about the scenarios where you have a discrepancy between your guitar bridge and your fretboard radius. We're going to talk about that, and I got a very good example for you that hits actually pretty close to home for me. Sorry, I told you I'm a little sick. I've got my thermometer and everything else here. So that's the first item on the docket. Then we're going to talk about this Fender's Japanese-made Sandblasted Telecaster. We're so going to talk about it because it's a very interesting guitar. And then we're also going to talk about some PRS S2s that are coming out. Man, these S2s are killing it these days. S2s are unbelievable these days because they basically put some core pickups in them. And some people actually believe that S2s are better than core for them. So let's have a chat also about that. Like I said, ladies and gents, we've got a killer docket today. So without further ado, let us get started. Wrong camera again, but let us get started. So here we are. Floyd Rose. All right, now, why am I talking about Floyd Rose? So guys, this is a scenario that a lot of people actually experience with their guitars. And that is you have a scenario where the radius of your fretboard is different to the radius of your bridge. So, what do I mean by this? Let's talk about radiuses, shall we? So, check this out. I'm gonna draw something beautiful for you so you can see. So, when we talk about radius, guys, when somebody says the radius of a fretboard is 9.5 inches, 10 inches, 12 inches, yada yada, what we mean by that is the amount of curvature that your fretboard or your bridge has. All right, so let me show you something first, actually. So if you have, obviously all the guitars got a bit of a curve in their neck and their bridge. So it's never like fully flat. There are some guitars that are fully flat. So 20-inch guitars, guitars that are 20 inches in radius in their fretboard, they're almost flat as a table. The lower the number of inches go, so 16, 14, 12, 10, 9.5, 7.5 sometimes, the more curved that surface and fretboard or the bridge is. And the way this works is, the reason it works like this is because, I'll share my screen with you. So let's just say, I'm going to add my pen and pad actually. Let me use this. So if you have a small circle, see this, I've got it, oops. So I've got myself a small circle, right? That the radius of this circle is smaller. If I get a cross section of this circle, like this cross section here, that cross section is a lot more curved as opposed to a guitar that is much bigger, that has a bigger radius. So I'm going to draw a much bigger circle, and I'm going to get a cross section of it again. This line here is much less curved than that. Does that make sense? That is the reason why the lower the amount of radius number is on your guitar spec, so 10 inches, 9.5, 7.5, right? The more curved that surface is. So 10-inch fretboards are more curved than 20-inch fretboards, right? Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, by the way, put it in the chat, put it in the comments. I'd love to go through it with you again and explain it differently, right? So now, why do we have this to begin with? Like, why do the fretboards have angles? And the reason for that is because how your hand is positioned, right? So if you hold a guitar neck like this, your fingers are curved, and that curvature on the fretboard is supposed to make your life easier. It's supposed to accommodate for that curvature, if you know what I mean, right? So if you got a scenario where your fretboard is flatter, it's easier to bend notes, for example. So if you want to bend some strings, if you want to play something bluesy, bendy and all that, it makes your life a lot easier. Not a lot, to some degree, right? Because it's flat. But if it's curved, it's supposedly easier to get chords on the neck of your guitar because your fingers curve in as they hold the neck, right? This is kind of the logic. Sorry. This is kind of the logic behind it. And now, in your guitar fretboard, you don't necessarily get like the same radius throughout, right? So you have scenarios, and I got a Corey Bailu King V Jackson back there. Guys, I put most of my guitars in their soft cases because it's really cold in here, and I regulate the temperature in the room. I just want to make sure the guitars are safe and sound, because right now it is winter almost in the southern hemisphere, in the land down under where I currently reside. So, but in that guitar, you have actually a compound radius on the necks, and there are some other guitars that got it too. Ibanez has got it, some of them. I know some Gibson Les Pauls actually got it, which is weird. But you have a scenario where at the top, like your lower frets, it's like more curved, 12 inches, and as you go closer to the body, to higher notes, the radius becomes more flat, goes to 16 inches. So it goes from 12, goes from 12, here we are, goes from 12 inches to 16 inches. Look at that handwriting, right? That's what happens to it. Here, let me move myself so you can see the 16. Right. So, and again, the idea is that in your lower frets, lower notes at the top of your guitar neck, you are more likely to hold chords. When you get down there to the higher notes, you're more likely to noodle. So that's the sort of the rationale, generally speaking, of this whole radius thingy. Now, here's where the conversation gets really interesting, because so far most of you know what I was talking about, right? This is where it gets interesting. You have a scenario, because the thing is, your strings are not connected to nothing, right? So your strings on one side is connected to the knot, which follows the curvature of the fretboard. And then on the other side, it is connected to the bridge, which is separate from your fretboard, right? It's part of the guitar body, not the guitar neck, right? Now, if you have a scenario where you have a fixed bridge, right? A fixed bridge, and let me show you some good examples of fixed bridges, like PRSs, like, a whole bunch of other things. Here we go. I'm going to go to PRS bridge. I'll just use the PRS because we're going to talk about PRSs in a second, fixed bridge. And PRS might not be actually the perfect example because custom 24s have floating bridges, right? But let's just say you got a bridge like this, right? And sometimes these bridges are flat. There are times where these bridges are actually curved to match the radius of your fretboard, which is even better. That's what it's supposed to be. So now, when you have a scenario where your bridge radius is matched to what you get on your fretboard neck, your strings go from the nut to the bridge with the same sort of a height. Their heights don't change. Okay? Now, what if you got a guitar where the fretboard, for example, is more flat than the bridge? The bridge is more curved than your fretboard. What happens then to the strings? So let's talk about it again. Let me share my screen. So now you have a scenario. Let me use my eraser. Actually, can I just do a new one? I don't know how to wipe these things. Get rid of them. Delete. Yes. Get rid of this. Yes. Okay. So now you have a scenario where your, say, fretboard is curved this much, right? But your bridge is curved this much, and I'm exaggerating. It's never like that. It's not never that like extreme. So bear with me a second on this, right? So what if there's a scenario that you got a bridge like this, and then you have, my apologies, a neck like this, so that's the neck, and you have a bridge that is like this. Okay, what happens if I put these two superimpose them? So I'm just going to change the color and get rid of the bridge. I'm going to superimpose them. Why doesn't this delete it? Okay. For some reason, the delete button's not working. So here we go. That's the neck. And this is the bridge. All right, I'm just going to superimpose it and make one a little bit more curved. Right? This trajectory is how your strings are going to be like when they go from the neck to the bridge. Right? Kind of like that. From the nut to the bridge. You get that sort of change in the curvature. So what happens as a result of it is that as you get closer to the bridge, as you go to your higher frets, higher notes, closer to the body of the guitar, the E strings, your string 1 and 6 here, might not have much of a difference in their height, in their action. But as you go closer to the bridge, your middle strings will have that extra height. The action increases, especially as you go towards the higher frets, higher notes, the body of your guitar. Right? Which is pretty interesting. Because now if somebody wants to set up their action accurately and consistently, they're going to have a hard time doing it because the middle strings are too high. And now, what if you have something like a Floyd Rose original, where each of these slots actually don't give you the capability to lower them down individually. So you can't actually bring individual strings lower so that you can bring the middle ones here lower and like make things a bit more even. You actually have to use the screws here and bring the whole plate down from the left and the right. What happens then? Right? What happens is that you're going to be able to bring these bits down a little lower, but at some point there's only so low your E strings, your first and sixth string can go. Right? So it still doesn't help with the inconsistency. Now, there are some ways around it. Like, for example, some people get the middle slots for strings 2 to 5, and they sand them and they lower them to sort of bring the height and make it a little bit more even. But it's not the neatest way to do it. Do you guys understand the problem statement now? So let's just say you have, this is the problem statement, right? I'm going to put the problem statement here in text. You have a guitar with a 14-inch, say, neck radius, or fretboard rather, fretboard radius. But that guitar has an original Floyd Rose, which, by the way, standard is 10 inches with shim from factory and 12 inches without. What do we do about it? Right? That's the thing. And the reason I know this so well, is because this guitar, this is a Washburn N4 Nuno Bettencourt signature guitar. It's a limited edition, 20th anniversary edition that they made. They only made 100 of them. This guitar has this condition. It has a 14-inch fretboard, but an original Floyd Rose bridge. Okay, so what do we do about it? What do we do in a scenario where your fretboard is 14 inches, your Floyd Rose is 10? Any thoughts? Other than, like, you know, manually sanding the bottom of those, like, string slots? What do we do about it? Chat, tell me. So, the thing lies here. So we know now, we know the problem statement. We know ideally we want to make sure that the neck and the bridge have the same radius so there's a consistency in the string action, right? Here's what you can do if your guitar suffers from the same condition. Because honestly, like, I love that guitar, my guitar, but I'm not a fan of that. Like, I wish Floyd Rose originals could be produced in 14-inch radiuses as well, but they're not. The thing that a lot of people miss out on, they don't recognize, is that Floyd Rose originals, yes, it has a 10-inch radius out of box, and it says it on the website, but it's 10 inches with a pre-installed shim, 12 inches without. So actually, if you use an Allen key here and unscrew each of these 6 ones, and you know what? You don't have to do it for all the 6. You can just do it for the middle 4. Unscrew it and take them out. You'll notice that there is this very thin 0.3 millimeter metal shim, very thin metal that is there to lift these saddles up. And if you remove that, you're going to change the radius of your Floyd Rose from 10 inches to 12 inches. So it's going to be more flat. And now you're in a scenario where your Floyd is 12 inches on a 14-inch fretboard, and that difference is reduced. And that's a good thing. So this difference, this 2-inch difference, is very acceptable. You don't feel it much. So if you set the action right, and if you set up your guitar properly, and you're, you got your neck relief and truss rod adjustments done properly and everything else, this difference doesn't really come to mind that much. It's not ideal, but it's very, very workable. You hardly notice it. And this is the thing that I think a lot of people miss out on, because I see a lot of these guitars. Like, you see a lot of guitars where, you got something a little bit more flatter. There's a mismatch between the radius of the neck and the bridge, and people don't do anything about it. They just sort of suck it up and play. But you can actually do something about it at home. And you don't even have to take it to a guitar tech or anything. You can just literally unscrew these things, take the shim out, put them back in again, restring your guitar. Yeah. Now, I recognize that restringing and setting up a guitar with the floating bridge, Floyd Rose, is a bit of a pain. It does consume a little bit more time than other types of guitars, like, fixed bridge guitars, but it's doable. That's the thing. It's very, very doable. By the way, can I say something? I really dig these gold Floyd Roses, and my guitar has this one. How good is that? This looks beautiful. Like, and in person, like I showed you, I got on my guitar. I got this one on one of the Nunos, and I got the black one on the other. But my lord, the gold one looks really good. This gold one, because there's two gold ones. There's like this gold and that gold. The bright one looks really good in person, and you can actually have like your whole hardware set up with gold. It's so much fun. But yeah, here we go. So that is our first item on the docket right now. Have you guys been corrupted by guitar yet? We got to do this again. Have you guys been corrupted yet? Yeah, but this is the thing, man, right? Especially for people who like to play guitar like faster and like a fast neck, noodle, and you don't chord much, you just like solo more. This little difference, this little adjustment makes a massive difference, because yeah, you might say, 10 inches to 14 inches, it's not that much. It's just a few millimeters of movement in your finger. But you're going to be doing that movement like thousands of times across all four of your fingers, right? So over time, it actually adds up. And it will like make your fingers more tired and sometimes even injured. And so these little things actually matter, make a difference. But yeah, but that's my opinion, man. Like, what do you guys think? Like, you think you don't care? Like, do you care at all about these kind of adjustments, or are you just like, whatever. We just play. Yeah. Anyways, shall we jump to our second item on the docket? Because I really wanted to share this thing with you guys. This is like one of those weird things that Fender did. And Fender, those who know me know that I'm not a biggest fan of Gibson. I started to like Fenders a little more. But one of the biggest criticisms I have for these guys is that it's just innovation is not there. God bless Ted McCarty and Leo Fender in the 50s. I mean, they just revolutionized everything for all of us. But then since then, it's like just rinse and repeat. You know what I mean? So let's talk about this guitar. So this is a made in Japan limited hybrid 2 Telecaster Sandblasted. And this is the thing that I find really interesting about this guitar. The sandblasting of it obviously is something that I find interesting. For those who don't know, sandblasting is a technique where you get like a high pressure wind, like through a very narrow windpipe. And you basically do like a high pressure wind against the grain of the wood, like the shape of the grains. See these like lines on this like ash body guitar. So basically you just get that tube, that pipe or whatever you want to call it, the hose, the wind hose, and put like high pressure air on these lines and you just make it more pronounced, if that makes sense, right? I can even show you a video actually. Hold on. Sandblasting guitar. There should be a video or something. Yeah, so have a look. This is actually a good example. Check this out. This is sandblasting. So like just with wind, you just make a difference on the surface, right? So now with a guitar, see this? You basically find those lines on your guitar body and you just make them more pronounced by high pressure wind and sand, right? So wind and sand, that's why it's called sandblasted. Yeah. See that? That's a PRS guitars, by the way. So this is their Swamp Ash CE 2000 custom 24s. CE 24s. Yeah. So that's what the process looks like. So now going back to the Fender guitar, this is an interesting thing. I haven't seen any other Fenders that have a sandblasted ash body. And ash is a really good wood for this, by the way. It's a really good tone wood for this purpose because swamp ash has these swampy kind of like patterns on it, so you can actually make it look really good, right? So this is the thing on this. Now, this is a Telecaster, so obviously the specs of that is going to be a Telecaster spec. It's not going to be that crazily different than your like, you know, American professional player, professional series 2. But one thing that I find really interesting about this as well, and it hasn't said it on the website, I've actually found it out through online reviews, is that this guitar is weight adjusted. So there are actually some holes, some hollow parts in this body to make the guitar a little lighter than your average like Telecaster, especially like a pine body Telecaster, which are extremely heavy. I got one back there, a Squire, not a Fender one, but pine is really heavy. But if you have like a sort of like a hollowish ash, it's a much lighter guitar. So you still got a 9.5-inch radius. We talked about radius earlier. It's a very curved neck, C-shaped fingerboard. And where is the weight of this guitar? Where does it say? It doesn't say it on the website here, but just for your info, the weight of this guitar is 8.1 pounds. Yeah, so how much is 8.1? So hang on. Pound to kg. How much is 8.1 pounds? So like 3.6 kilos. Yeah. That's the thing of this guitar, and it's like a normal Telecaster and like a traditional style of a bridge, a Telecaster, right? So you can see that the slots there, the string slots there, are like in twos, not like individual for each string. So if you want to change the string action, you actually impact both of the strings together. And by the way, this design was done this way, like I think in the 60s or late 50s, to make the production easier and simpler. The whole philosophy behind creating the Telecaster, when Leo Fender designed the Telecaster, the whole philosophy behind it was to make sure that the guitar is easy to produce, easy and cheap to produce, easy to maintain and fix. And that is the reason why you have a bridge style like this, or you have, for example, a bolt-on neck is another example. So bolt-on necks are a lot easier to fix and maintain as opposed to set necks or especially neck throughs. That's the reason why. Yeah. So there you have it. Now, in terms of how this guitar feels like if somebody is wondering, you know, how does a sandblasted body guitar feel like? I actually got a guitar. The other Nuno N4 that I've got is a sandblasted black. And it doesn't feel that crazily different. Like you feel the ridges on the guitar as you play it, but they're not that deep. It's certainly not like it's not gonna scratch your arm or anything of that nature, right? So the guys who are making the guitars are not stupid. They're not gonna like make a guitar in a way that makes it uncomfortable for you to play or ruins your like shirt when you're playing or your skin. Obviously, right? So these sandblasted parts, these ridges, are not actually that deep. But if you rub your hand on it, you feel it a little bit, and it's like a funny feeling. you'll get used to it, man. Like you play a few notes and your focus goes away from that to this. Yeah, but it's really cool. I like the fact that we've got, something tried, tested, and true like a Telecaster, and we're not afraid to play around with it. We're not afraid to innovate on it a little bit, even if it's aesthetic, right? Even if it's aesthetic. So that's like a sort of a limited edition Japan-made Telecaster, which is already sold out, by the way. I think it's sold out. Yeah, it says sold out. Yeah. And it's only available through the Fender website. No dealers, huh? I wonder how much it is in on what is it called? On Reverb. I wonder how much it is on Reverb. Let's check it out. Hold on. Go to Google. And then Reverb, which was recently purchased by the investors in Fender. All right, how much do we get? Nope. Okay, let me change it. Fender Telecaster Sandblasted Reverb. Nope, that's the old one. But this is like one of the old ones. I don't think the red one is like... Yeah, this is one of the old stuff. It's not one of the new stuff. There's nothing there on Reverb. Ha, nobody wants to sell that guitar. You got the old ones, but the natural one is not there. Yeah, okay. Nobody wants to sell it. That's good. I like it. You got a special guitar. You gotta keep it. You gotta keep it. All right, time for corruption. You guys ready? Before we go to the next docket, we're gonna corrupt everybody and. Thoughts on this guitar. Would you buy this guitar for $2,000 US? You have a Fender limited edition hybrid 2 Telecaster for $2,000. Would you buy it? Yeah, I don't know. I like, if you have $2,000 laying around, I'd be open to buy it, maybe, but probably not. To be honest with you, here's a reason why. Because when I think about Telecaster, I think about traditional. I think about old school. I like my Telecaster with a pine body. So the Squire that I've got is a 50s vibe Squire Telecaster. So it's like a pine body, bone nut, and it's really heavy and chunky and everything else. And so when I think about Telecaster, I think old school. So again, and it's contrary, and this is the thing. It's in contrast with what I said earlier about innovation and don't do rinse and repeat. But then I myself go like, I like my Telecaster old school. So for Teles, yes. Strats, no, innovated. I don't have a Fender Strat. I like innovative stuff when it comes to my what is it called? Strats and all that. But anyways, shall we jump to the third item on the docket? Because this is the PRS S2 guitars. So, for those who don't know, PRS guitars have 3 tiers of electric guitars, right? So you have the core models, and there's more, but generally speaking, you got the core models that are like US made. That's like the cream of the crop. You've got the S2 models, which are still made in the US, but they're like the mid-range. And then you got the SE models that are currently made in Indonesia. They used to be made in Korea, but now they're made in Indonesia, right? Now, what PRS did in 2024, if I'm not wrong, April of 2024, was that they put their US-made pickups inside the S2. And if you know anything about solid body electric guitars, you know that the pickups make a massive difference in the sound of your electric guitar. These are the microphones, like they're like the lion's share of how your guitar is going to sound like. Is the pickup. It's the most important thing, arguably, right? So if you put the US made pickups, that means your S2 is going to sound very, very similar to your core. Again, there are, granted, other factors like the nut is going to make a difference, bridge, your body material, body wood, your amplifier, for God's sake, your, lead and everything else, your strings. So it's not the only factor, but it makes a massive difference. PRS put the US made pickups in the S2s, which mean now S2 is going to sound very similar to the core guitars. Which now means, why would anybody buy a core guitar? And a lot of people still do, right? But this is one of the things that, like, for example, somebody like a big content creator like Philip McKnight was like, look, S2 actually works better for me. I like the shape of the S2 better because it doesn't have the violin carve. I just like the S2s better, irrespective of the price. But PRS came up with this new S2 and SE series, right? They got 5 new electric guitars out. And the thing that makes it really special is the narrow field pickups of them. So while I'm bringing up the PRS page, the thing with the narrow field pickup is like a pickup that is a single coil but doesn't have the hum. It's these ones. See these? So basically what they do is that they pick up a more narrower range of frequencies on the string. And again, the whole goal of this was to make sure that you have a single coil pickup that doesn't hum and doesn't sound like crappy, basically. And these are the new guitars. And this is the one that I'm like really, really impressed with, this guitar. Like I'd be open to buy one if it didn't have the middle pickup. Because I don't like middle pickups. I don't know, for some reason, every time I play a guitar that has the middle pickup, my pick hits the middle pickup all the time. Not all the time, a lot of times. And I know a lot of people are going to go like, oh, your pick is too low. You got to bring it a little higher. I get it. But when I'm standing up and I'm playing hard, I don't have the accuracy of, you get the point. But yeah, so let's check this one out. I want to see the specs of this S2. So I'm just going to go to products, S2 series. Where is the narrow field? Did I miss it? Was that a custom? It's not a custom 24, right? Surely. Where is that guitar? I lost it, I think. Ah, there we go. Or no, it's not even this one. Where is that guitar? What's that model then? Yeah, so you got it here. You got the narrow field model. So where is your S2 narrow fields? Custom 24. Custom 24.8. McCarty. You got your Velas. Don't tell me they don't have it here on this part of the website. That's ridiculous. Yeah, they don't have it. Huh. That's weird. Okay. Do we have a narrow field one here, like a separate narrow field category? No, I don't think they've maybe they haven't updated. Oh, there we go. See this? There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, so this is the SE model. This is the Indonesian made model. So you got a maple body. A mahogany body, my apologies. Mahogany body, maple top. It has the shallow violin top carve. That's interesting. Okay. 22 frets, 25-inch scale. So this is like an old school sort of a guitar. It's very circular and round at the neck. 22 frets only, 25-inch scale. So not much tuning down on that guitar for sure. Rosewood fretboard. PRS tremolos and tuners. Nickel hardware. And you got the LT, the Indonesian-made treble pickup. And then Indonesian-made narrow field pickups. And then you obviously have the push and pull tone control. Yeah. It's a great guitar, just from the specs of it, and it looks super good too. I wouldn't buy something like this because number one, it has like the middle pickup, which I absolutely don't like. And I don't like 25-inch scales on the guitar. I think it's too little. At least 25 and a half, which is the standard. 26 if you want to tune down a lot more. So same PRS, by the way. So this is something that they can't actually do. And again, I don't understand why would somebody choose a 25-inch scale for a guitar. That sort of narrows things down and doesn't really give you, I don't know. So if you go, for example, to this SE series and go to Mark Holcomb's signature, if you're a metal player, this guitar that I'm about to show you is a much better guitar for you here. This is the 7th string. There we go. This is the 7th string, this is the 6th string, which I got one at home, right? So this guitar has a 20-inch fretboard radius. That's like flat kind of a radius, right? No mismatch between the fretboard radius and the bridge. So that's like really nice sort of a feel on the guitar. 25.5-inch scale. So tuned down nice and easy, right? 24 frets. It's just much better. And the tuning is drop C tuning out of factory, by the way. So if you're a metal player or if you like to play like hard rock stuff, this guitar is a far better choice than that. Yeah. Far better choice. And the 7th string also. 7th string, if I'm not wrong, is like 26.5 in scale. Let's check it out. I got the walnut version, the 2009 version of this at home. Is it 26.5? Yeah, there we go, 26.5. So it's the same guitar as the other ones, just the 7th string version of it. Again, 20-inch fretboard radius, 26.5-inch length in the scale. Yeah, this one comes in standard tuning, huh? Okay. But yeah, going back to that other SE guitar, the new narrow field stuff that is out. And I understand, like, you know what it's like? I understand, like, why people would like a shorter scale length. Traditionally speaking, for example, Gibsons are like, what, 24.95? Like, the scale is shorter. People don't really change tunings much. Where did that go? Like, you stay in E standard, so kind of it's okay. Like, short scales don't really bother you. Guys, I lost it. I don't know where that guitar went. Oh, there we go. That's the other one, by the way. Let's check this one out. Yeah, got your two narrow fields. Yeah, so I understand why people would like it. Like, especially people who are more used to Les Pauls and all that, or more traditional styles of guitar. It never worked for me. But and I'm not, by the way, this is the thing, right? A lot of people are bothered by the number of the frets. Like, some people go like, oh, it must be 24 frets or I'm missing out on notes. It doesn't really make much of a difference for me. In fact, there are arguments to be made to have something at the 22 frets, to have a guitar on 22 frets, because the 24th fret that is missing falls on top of your neck pickup. So it actually has a better resonance. There's arguments to be made for that. Like, a lot of people make arguments for that, right? Of why they would actually rather have 22 frets. My Nuno guitars are 22 frets, and it's fantastic. I don't feel like I'm missing on that many notes. It's like, really, you're just missing out on 2 notes, right? You're missing out on your E note on the 24th fret and your E flat on the 23rd, right? Which you can bend to if you really have to. If you really can't do it with that E, you can just bend it. But one of the reasons a lot of guitar builders and a lot of people prefer 22 frets is that the 24th fret falls on top of your neck pickup. And as you guys know, like, for example, if you want to do harmonics on your 12th string, on your 12th fret or 24th fret, you know that the 12th fret is really easy to do the harmonics on. It's kind of the same theory. It has a great resonance, and some people believe that guitars that have 22 frets sound actually better and more resonant that way. It's probably a bit of tone chasing. It's probably a bit of a myth to it. It's probably more like wine tasting as opposed to maths and logic. Do you know what I mean? But yeah. All right, so what do we got for this guitar? Solid body, obviously. Mahogany body. So it's like a single wood body. Maple neck. Scarf joint, obviously. Same thing, by the way, and I said this when I was talking about that Fender. You know how I said that when you got a screwed in neck or a bolt on neck, so this is when your neck is screwed to the body, it's easier to fix and maintain and create. So the OPEX cost of creating it is less. It's easier to fix and maintain. Same thing with scarf neck constructions. It's easier to make when you're making a guitar. So that's the reason why you have like these more affordable SE models all having like, you know, a lot of them, most of them having scarfed neck construction and bolt-on necks. It's just easier to make, cost less to make. Rosewood fretboard. Yeah, exactly the same pickup config. Yeah, so this guitar shouldn't sound really different to the other one, man. I'm just looking at it. Like these two should sound very, very, very similar. Like the main difference here is really the aesthetics. Yeah. Any favorites? Chat? Let's corrupt you again one more time. That's the last corruption that we're going to have on the stream. Ready? Get corrupted with guitar. Oh. I'm sorry, I'm sick. And I'm already talking a lot. Give me a second. The only thing that got corrupted was my throat. So, which one would you prefer? The blue one or the green one? Chat, tell me. Do we like the blue one? I'll show it to you again. Do we like the blue one or the green one? Which one? Let me make it bigger for you. And they sound identical, dare I say. The wood is almost identical. The material is identical. The pickups are identical. Which one would you like more? The green one or the blue one? I probably like the green one a little better. And blue is my favorite color. But I like this one better. It's just simple. It's simpler. But then again, like, can I say something? I always preferred stained guitars than colored guitars. So staining a guitar is like you don't cover the guitar with a layer of paint. You just change the color of the grain. Like, for example, you know, when you spill some wine on your carpet turns red, but it's not creating a layer on top of your carpet. You're staining the carpet, right? But if you paint over something, you have a layer of paint on top of it. And there are some arguments to be made that if you got a wood and you paint over it, you take the resonance of the wood away, right? And so, especially if it's thick neck, that's why like painting a guitar is a very delicate process. Like painting the guitar, finishing the guitar are really delicate processes because you're actually covering the body of the guitar with a layer of material like chemicals. And so it's important that you don't do it in such a way that ruins the tone of your guitar. So in that sense, I guess the blue one has an advantage. And it's a veneer top, very likely. I don't know. That looks like a veneer. But yeah. But just in terms of like simplicity, man, like the green one looks really good. It's nice and simple. Yeah. But can I say something? And by the way, you got the NF3s, for example, that only got the narrow field pickup. So if somebody is not a massive fan of humbuckers, you can get the exact same spec of the other two guitars with this. Let me change the size of this thing that I just ruined it myself. Hold on. Let me put it here. And again, for those who just joined us, guys, sorry, I've caught a bad cold and I hardly have a voice. So I hope you forgive me for my weird sounding voice today. But yeah, this is the green one. It's just that it doesn't have the humbucker and the bridge. It's just got the narrow field pickups. So these two are pretty much not that different, really, right? So if you're not a fan of humbuckers, actually that option is there for you. Yeah. Here's the thing. This is the thing that just occurred to me, right? If PRS really were so crazily happy about this particular pickup config, I wonder why they didn't put it to something that is like closer to John Mayer's signature guitar. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? So if I go to cores, John Mayer has, by the way, has the core and the SE, right? Where is it? That's Konami's guitar, Konami Tonos. Where's John Mayer's signature? Don't tell me they removed it from the core series. Silver Sky, there we go. That's the lefty. This is the Silver Sky, right? I wonder why they wouldn't put like those narrow field pickups in like one of the, like replace one of these pickups with that, like the middle one or something. That would be a really interesting strat, right? Because right now this guitar has like a normal, like this is a PRS strat for lack of better words. John Mayer's, it's, I would argue the core model is the best strat that is in the market, and some people disagree. Like if you compare the core Silver Sky with a Fender Strat, like the best Fender Strat that is out there, I'll take the Silver Sky any day. And I got my reasons for it. You don't have to agree with me. We can still be friends. But I wonder, wouldn't that be an interesting thing to do? To get the Silver Sky and replace one of these pickups with a narrow field pickup, like the middle one. That'll make for a really interesting strat. Because now you have a scenario where the middle pickup is like picking up something like a really shorter, narrower field of frequencies. And you put it there in the middle, you're going to get a lot of mid. Like your mid signal is going to be really strong. Yeah, that'll be really interesting. I wonder why they don't do it. Like just a quick feedback PRS if you're watching this stream. If you don't start watching it, hold on, I gotta speak eye to eye with PRS. Hold on, stop the music. Stop the music. We gotta talk eye to eye with PRS. Look at me. Look in my eyes. Look. Yeah, change the camera. Look. If someone's watching from PRS, look at me. Do it, PRS. You know you want to. You know you want to. Okay? Get that guitar. That as a Silver Sky, like SE, it shouldn't even be the core. Just get this, replace the middle pickup, put the narrow field in it, and then start selling it. And it'll be successful, believe me. But yeah. Bring the music back on. All right, the serious bit is over. Yeah. This is the thing, right? One funny observation, and I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, because I know like PRS is really famous for like when somebody says PRS, a lot of people think like lawyers and doctors guitar. For a very long time, PRS was called that because the core models are, let's be honest, cream of the crop, right? Like this stuff, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 guitar on like this freaking, look at the wood, man. I mean, it's expensive. It's an expensive guitar. Somebody was selling the Konami limited edition for $10,000, by the way, like, which is expensive for a guitar. But if you have a look, you know, you got this bunch of core models here, so on and so forth. And this is Paul's new limited edition guitar, by the way. He played it live in an event not that long ago. In their 40th anniversary event. See how many SE series you've got. And the quality, I got 2 SE guitars and the quality is fantastic. Look how many options you've got. Same with the S2. It's really not, like, if you can't afford a core guitar, you should be able to buy like an SE or an S2 that the quality is really, really not that crazily different. Because you guys know, if you've seen some of my older videos, like I've explained this multiple times, that when it comes to the price of a guitar, right, it follows a diminished value curve, right? So if I have a guitar here, I'll share my screen with you. Here, I'm gonna go to my home. I think I had it drawn here. There we go. Oh, no. This is the wrong one. Sorry. Where did I do it? I was explaining it and I actually drew a graph of it. Maybe I didn't. Okay, I'll use this one. Doesn't matter. Check this out, right? And this is the law of diminishing returns. So I'm just going to remove, oops. What did I do? Okay, so let's get rid of all of it. Screw it. So imagine I've got this graph here, right? So I'm just going to do it in black. Here we go. Okay, so that and that. So that's my X and Y axis, right? This is guitar quality. Right? And this is the guitar price. Right? If the guitar price goes from, say, $500 to $1,000, right? If a $500 guitar quality is here, like there, the $1,000 guitar quality jumps significantly, more than 2x. But if you have a $7,000 guitar here, let's just say this is 7K, and then I got the 8K, so 7,000 to 8,000, or you know what? I'll just say 7,000 to 750. How about that? So let's just say it's 7K. So let's just make the difference 500 still. That's 7K, and that's 7.5K, right? If a 7K guitar, the quality of it is somewhere around here, the 750, 7,500 rather, is not that higher. So the difference between these two in terms of quality is much less than the difference between these two. And this is called the law of, wow, what a font. That's a small font. Nobody can read it. Hold on. Let me get rid of this. And I was fired up too. How do I increase the size of this damn thing? Okay, I'll just write it. Screw it. This is called the law of diminishing returns. Diminishing. I tried. Returns. Right? So the difference between a $500 guitar and a $1,000 guitar is much more than a $7,000 guitar and a $7,500 guitar, is what I'm trying to say. Right? And now the reason I said it is because, like, a lot of people would think that, oh, okay, I can't afford an expensive guitar, so I'm going to go for the cheapest one, and the difference between the cheapest one and a little bit more expensive is not that much. It's not necessarily the case. Right? So that's the first thing to keep in mind. And the second thing to obviously keep in mind, now that we're talking about guitar prices, by the way, is that different brands of guitar have a different sweet spot, right? So you might get like PRSs that their sweet spot might be around, like, I don't know, I'm just pulling a number out. I don't know this, like say $800. If you got a brand like Ibanez, that price point might be a little higher or lower. Squier guitars, that sweet spot is probably a little lower. So different affordable versions of guitar, like SE model for PRS, Squier for Fender, Epiphone for Gibson, and so on and so forth, actually have a different sweet spot, which I think is a very interesting thing to think about, because not all $600 guitars are the same, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah. But one thing I think PRS did, and this is like more recent, I guess, is that they really, really added on their SE catalog. They heard the feedback of the market that, oh, your guitar is just for doctors and lawyers, and that's usually not a good business model. Exclusivity is great, but if you exclusive, only cater to exclusivity, you're going to get less and less number of people actually buying your stuff. So that's the thing. Akhil asked, any guitar recommendations less than $500? Less than 500 US dollars? Well, okay, so let me answer it this way. Is it going to be a brand new guitar or secondhand? Like, do you have experience in buying secondhand guitars or no? And usually people who say, all right, like $500, do you have any like recommendations? Yeah, look, um, Squire by Fender is always a safe choice. And one of the reasons I recommend the Squire by Fender ATHLETICALLY a lot to people who want to buy a guitar that is less than $500 is that it has a good resale value. Like Fender, Squires, Gibsons, these two brands, like anything that is made by Fender and Gibson, usually have a better resale value, right? And a lot of beginners, when they first buy a guitar, they might not always play. They might realize, oh, this is not for me, this and this and that. I want to get rid of it at some point. So that's one reason that I'm like, okay, so first of all, you're safe. Like, you're not going to lose too much money. Number two, can I say something? I wish I didn't start with this point, because like I want everybody to play guitar. I want to corrupt everybody with guitar. In fact, let's do another corruption. Okay, ready? Let's get corrupted by guitar. Okay, I want to corrupt everybody to play guitar. So I wish I didn't start with the resale point, because for the love of God, love guitar, don't sell your guitars and play it, right? And I myself am the worst person when it comes to selling guitars, because I already got like 10 of them sitting in this room. And I don't want to, I have to sell them, but I don't want to. Okay, love guitars, don't sell it. But if you want to sell them, God forbid, anything made by Fender and Gibson is a safe option. Aki. So that's the first thing. You're like, yeah, I traded my Squire in for an Ibanez, but my neck snapped. Ah, that sucks. Okay. Was that a cheap Ibanez? Because if it's like a cheap guitar and your neck snaps, like it might cost you a lot to, like it might cost more than the guitar to actually get it fixed. So you might be better off actually buying something new. But yeah, so one of the reasons that I recommend it was $500. Yeah. Okay. Look, go to a luthier and see how much they're going to charge you for fixing that neck. And yeah, no point in fixing it though. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. Akel. Yeah, you're probably better off get a brand new guitar on that. But just to continue, this is what I was saying, and I want everybody to hear this. So you got obviously your resale value for anything made by Fender or Gibson. Squires probably have the better affordable resale value kind of a thing in the affordable models. Also, Fender is really good at rinse and repeating and making the guitars that they've already established the specs of. Fender's so good at it. Gibson, not so much. Gibson has had quality control issues for a while, and they've gotten better, but it's not, I don't think it's fully there yet, right? So Fender Squire is a really safe choice, because they've got their stuff sorted, they're really good, they know what they're about, they produce the guitars, and this, it's there. That's the second reason why. Thirdly, Telecaster and Stratocaster are probably two of the most comfortable shapes of guitar when it comes to playing in different positions. Seated, classical, seated, folkway, and standing. Like, so for example, if you get a V-shaped guitar or an Explorer guitar, playing that seated in a classical way might not be as comfortable as a Telecaster or a Strat, right? So that's another consideration, especially like if you want to buy something that is less than 500. But Akhil just said that low-key, I'm willing to drop $800. Okay, if you want to drop $800, that does make a difference. Cause can I recommend you something? And this is something that I'm not like sponsored by PRS. I just really love their guitars. Check this out. Check this out. I'm going to go on Sweetwater. Right? And I'm going to type PRS CESE. Or this one even. Right? Check this out. So if you want to go for something like a little fancy and a more affordable thing, this looks really good. But this is like this one got the same specs. I've played with this guitar before. I've never owned one, but I've played with this guitar. I wholeheartedly recommend it to anybody who wants something less than 500. This is just on the mark. And you got like really, really cool colors with it and everything else. I adore this one. I really like the white one. Silver, whatever you want to call it. And it's like a what do you call it? It's like a bolt-on neck custom 24, basically, if you're wondering. So that's like one way to go about it. It's a really good option. And this is like the Sandblasted version of it. And if you just joined the stream, we were talking about a Fender Sandblasted guitar not that long ago. So now this one actually has a red version, by the way, ATHLETICALLY. I'll show it to you. PRS Sandblasted SC. Check this out. I call it the Darth Maul of electric guitars. Watch the red one here. Is this the Darth Maul of electric guitars or what? Let me make it bigger so everybody can see better. Hold on. Yeah. Now, I don't know why. Yeah. Check this out. How good is this? It looks really good. It looks really, really good. I really dig the look of this guitar. All right. Let me just go to another camera while I'm fixing this thing. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. My bad. Fix that. I apologize. Just bear with me a second, everybody. I humbly apologize again. There we go. That's more like it. So this is a safe choice if you want to go for something less than 500 or something less than 800 but a little fancy. This is a good choice to go for. So like that. Also, one thing to keep in mind as well, ATHLETICALLY, it also really depends on what style of music you play, right? So PRSs are safe choices because they're very high quality. They don't have the same resale value as a Squier, but their quality made is pretty good. So that's why they're like a safe option. Now, if you say, all right, I'm cool with a PRS guitar that is like an SE PRS guitar, but I play metal, then it's probably the Mark Holcomb signature you want to go for. Holcomb PRS SE, which is more expensive. I think it's about $1,000 or something. Yeah, $1,200. So it's a bit more expensive. But like this is built for metal. The pickups are high output pickups. So that's your option. So Fender Squier is a really good option. PRS is a really good option. I would wholeheartedly recommend these two if you want to buy something in a more affordable range. Yeah. Don't go with the Chipson, ATHLETICALLY. Don't go with the Chipson. Wrong one. Wrong camera. Again. Oh, well. Sid. Oh, hold on. Sorry, before I get to Sid. ATHLETICALLY said, what should I be looking for spec-wise? ATHLETICALLY, it entirely depends on what you play. Like, it really, really does depend on the style of music that you play, right? I would say, think about what you like to play and what you like to listen to, and they might not necessarily always be the same. And then go with like, okay, that's this kind of sound that I want, and then sort of reverse engineer it from there. So I'll tell you, I'll show you what my process is. I mostly play metal and hard rock. So I want high output guitars. I want the type of pickup that can cut through the mix so I can get a lot of high end from it. I want a really tight low end from it, right? And I don't like something that is overtly heavy. Like, for example, right? So that's like one consideration. Another one is that I don't like V-shaped guitars so much anymore. I used to love them. I realize they're not really for me because I play seated in a classical position a lot. So then I go with what I like. You know what I mean? I bought the Nuno guitar, the N4 Washburn guitar. I'll show it to you again if you guys haven't seen it. So I bought this guitar, and it's a boutique guitar, not gonna lie. But one of the reasons that I bought this guitar was for the Bill Lawrence pickup in the bridge. And Bill Lawrence pickups are like really old school, like rock and roll kind of pickups on the neck side, on the bridge side. But one of the reasons that I bought this guitar was for this bridge. And the person that motivated me to buy it would obviously Nuno Bettencourt. And I was like, oh, that sounds really cool, and see if I can get something similar out of it. So, Akhil, if you want to like sit down and think about what kind of sounds you like and what kind of music you like, and then reverse engineer it from there. That will be the best spec for you to look for. Once you figure out what is it that you like, and then the next question obviously is then who's the better manufacturer of that spec? Yeah. Because the thing is, right, you guys can go about like, oh, bone nut, oh, like nickel server frets, or, you know, or like just nickel frets, Floyd Rose or not. You can talk about all of these materials, maple body, mahogany, ash, Corina, Koa. You can go through all of this and tone chase it. But if you don't know what is it that you exactly want, that tone chasing is not going to get you anywhere. You have to know what you want. Figure out what you want, reverse engineer it from there. Yeah. Sid, I got my first guitar for around 600. Still love it to this day. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. What is that guitar, Sid? What is your guitar? What's your first guitar? I wish I could say the same thing, by the way, as Sid says. Like, I wish I had my first guitar. I'll tell you guys what happened to my first guitar. So, my first electric guitar, I was coming to Australia, and I lent it to a relative. And that relative was a professional musician, by the way. This person didn't play guitar, but was a professional musician, and promised me that it's going to take care of that guitar. She told me she broke it accidentally and threw it away in the trash. I have a feeling that she might have sold it. And so, yeah, that's what happened to my first guitar, which was a little sad for me at some point. Like, I was like, ah. But yeah, man, Sid, I'm so glad you got your first guitar. I'm so glad you got it, man, still, and loving it. Because if I had my first guitar, I'll still be loving it and playing with it. It's a special thing. Yeah. Because the thing is, right, like, because there are a lot of people that are in the Johnny Greenwood kind of school of thought. Because they're like, oh, guitar is just a tool, like a vacuum cleaner or something. And you just, use it and then whatever. But I actually like some of my guitar. I actually bonded with guitar. Schecter Demon. Okay. It's a Schecter Demon 7, Sid. I had this Schecter Demon 6. I sold my Demon 6 like 4 or 5 months ago. It's so cool. That's a really good guitar, dude. That's a really good guitar. I had the 6. It's a super good guitar. Does it have the active Schecter pickups? Is it the... Because I bought mine, I think, in like 2019 or something. Does it have the active pickups? So for those who don't know, let me share my screen and take you to it. All right, let's check this out. And Schecters are killing it, by the way. Schecter is providing a lot of bang for buck for people like... they're trying to compete with ESP in some ways. It has the active pickup? Hell yeah. Okay. So this is what Sid is talking about, guys. Schecter Demon 7. I had the white Antic, the Schecter Demon 6. This is the one. So you only got the 6. Okay. I know what, I should Googled it. I should have Googled it. Go to Google. Here. Sid, is it a fixed bridge or is it the one with Floyd Rose? This is the one Sid is talking about, guys. It's a really good guitar. I had the 6-string version of the white one. Let me move myself. Hold on. I had the 6-string version of this one. And it's a fantastic guitar, by the way. It's really good. It's like, what, 750 euros? About $1,000? Yeah. Super good guitar. Amazing neck. I love the neck on that guitar. Yeah. That's exactly it. There we go. Yeah. It's a really good guitar. Akhil, you wanted recommendations for guitar. Look, if you're willing to put around like 800 to 1,000 or something, I've actually had the Demon 6 for, I don't know, 4 years, 3 years. It's a great guitar. The only reason I sold it on Facebook Markets was because a sponsor sent me a new guitar, and the total number of guitars I had at home was like 11, and it was hard to manage. So I had to get rid of like a few of my guitars a few months ago. That's the only reason I sold it. It's a fantastic guitar. So Akhil, if you're looking to, you know, buy a guitar around like the $1,000 mark, Schecter Demon 6 or 7 are great. It has an active Schecter pickup. Actually, you know what? Let's check the specs. Instead of talking about this in abstracts, Schecter guitars. Here we go. And I'm gonna search for Demon 7. Here we go. Which is the guitar that Sid has. Oh, I gotta share my screen. Why didn't anybody say anything? So that's the guitar. Sid said, when I first started, I thought I'd go with a little crazy and get the Schecter Demon 7. I do not regret it whatsoever. Yeah, brother. No regrets on this one. Hell. It's a super good guitar. I had the 6th one, and I tell you, it's amazing. So, talk about the specs. This is what I wanted to show Akhil and anybody who's interested in a guitar around the $1,000 mark or a little less. Where is it? There we go. So you got Schecter tuners. You got a Wench fretboard, maple neck, and that maple neck, by the way, guys, I can say it firsthand from having this guitar, feels great. You got the Gothic sort of inlay, the cross. The 7-string guitar is 26.5 in scale. The 6-string one is 25.5. Thin C-neck is actually nice and thin, so it is for fast playing. 24x jumbo. Frets, yes. The highlight of this guitar, honestly, one of the highlights is this Schecter active pickups. Now you might think like, oh, it might be like an Indonesian made or active pickup, yada yada. Like, it sounds really good. Yeah. And I, for some reason, like guitars that if a guitar got an active pickup, I like the battery component that I can just flip open, as opposed to the ones that get screwed open. I don't know if the image here shows. Like, is there an image of the back of the guitar? I think not. But you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like, there was one that you screw and you open the compartment, or there's one that you just flip open. I like the one that you flip open and just change the battery easy, as opposed to have to, like, screw the thing out. Yeah. The neck and the fret feel amazing to play. Hell yeah. Preach. But yeah, that's the Demon 7 that Sid is talking about. And I had the 6 fret version, so I'll show you guys what I had. Which is exactly 6, Demon 6. There we go. And I had the white one. Same guitar, same specs. Smaller scale, obviously. Same pickups. So good. And easy to maintain, too, by the way. Can I say something? Like, because the thing is, I do my guitar setups at home. I have, like, a full... I do professionally set up my guitars for myself and others. And it's so easy to set up. It's a very easy guitar to maintain and deal with. So, yeah. How much is this guitar right now? Demon 6. I think I had it somewhere. Demon 6. Schecter. How much are they selling it for? $900. Akhil, this is like right in your alley, brother. This one, is that a Sustainiac? Yeah. So this one actually has a Floyd Rose and a Sustainiac for $900. Dude, that's a really good guitar. If any metal players out there that is, you know, their price range is around 900, like that's your tolerance. That's a really good guitar to go for. Yeah. There you have it. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna slowly call it a day. I've been having a bit of a flu. I'm a little sick, and I can feel my temperature is going up. So I'm gonna do a bit of this with my thermometer to make sure I don't have fever. But I feel like I'm losing my voice slowly. So I'm gonna call it a day. Quick recap of what we talked about today. We first talked about a difference between your neck radius and your bridge radius and the impacts of that. We talked about the impact on string action, the feel of the guitar. If you haven't joined the stream from that, go back to the video, watch it. It's a pretty good info for those who like to have a low action on their guitars. Pretty good stuff there. Talk about Floyd Rose coming 10 inches with a shim, 12 inches without, out of the factory. Then we talked about the Fender Sandblasted Telecaster that is weight relieved. Talked about that. We talked about the SE PRSs, and obviously a whole bunch of chat with friends. And I think that's really about it. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're around. If you enjoyed it, you want to join us for having more chats. We're going to be doing a lot more of these. We do it every week. Hang out, talk guitars, and all the good stuff. I hope you're well, man. I hope you're well. I hope your loved one's well. Take a good care of yourself. And I'll see you in the next stream, the next video. Bye now.